Apple is betting on the future of the United States after it announced a massive investment to expand across multiple states. So, what does this historic pledge mean for American workers, the tech industry, and the future of innovation? I'm Veronica Dudo. Let's find out.
This is In America Today from the Ticker News Studios in New York City.
Apple is making a historic $500 billion commitment to the United States economy, marking what the company calls an extraordinary new chapter in the history of American innovation. Over the next 5 years, Apple will build a state-of-the-art AI server manufacturing facility near Houston, double its advanced manufacturing fund, and establish a new Apple Manufacturing Academy in Detroit. The investment will also bring 20,000 new jobs focused on artificial intelligence, engineering, and research and development. For more, I'm joined by Patrick Hedger, the Director of Policy for NetChoice. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So first, what makes Apple's $500 billion investment so significant for the U.S. economy?
Yeah, this is an incredible announcement, and it comes on the heels of another $500 billion announcement, the Stargate announcement, which is a joint venture of Oracle, OpenAI, and Microsoft. So we've got $1 trillion of potential investment in the United States in AI. And what's really significant about this is, one, these are huge numbers, even on the scale of U.S. government spending. It's a huge number. But this isn't U.S. government spending. This is private capital that is coming off the sidelines because it sees a more favorable regulatory environment in the United States, particularly in the space of AI. So very significant for the United States to continue to lead the world in AI research and development.
So let's talk about that. A big difference from the previous administration until now. What role did President Donald Trump have, do you think, in this announcement?
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that within the first 24 hours of taking office, President Trump was able to be at that announcement about the Stargate plan, that other $500 billion investment that I just mentioned. This is a huge sign that companies feel more comfortable bringing capital off the sidelines and see a more stable regulatory environment going forward. Whereas the Biden administration really, through a lot of its policies, whether it was antitrust policies or other tech regulations, seemed to be very allergic to this kind of a large-scale investment and development of AI. There was reports that the Biden administration was seeking to push forward with major regulations of AI and essentially having a more command and control AI regulatory sphere versus the permissionless innovation structure that we're seeing under the Trump administration.
What types of jobs will be created through this initiative, and which industries will benefit the most?
Yeah, that is a great question. So direct jobs, we're going to see about 20,000 direct jobs just from the Apple announcement. And those are going to be manufacturing jobs, construction jobs, engineering jobs, really high paying, good quality jobs. But what we should also be thinking about is the secondary jobs that are created by this. And it's not just the great jobs serving the communities where these new manufacturing, engineering, and construction jobs will be created. You're thinking about the doctors, the school teachers, and things like that will be needed to serve those communities. But there are also the jobs in potential AI applications. And we're going to see a new workforce, an AI-powered workforce where you have higher levels of worker productivity. And that's going to spread across really as many industries as you can name. AI has the potential to revolutionize all of those and make workers more productive.
How does this investment position Apple against competitors like Google and Microsoft in the AI space?
What we're seeing is a good arms race, right? This is a great arms race between various companies. This is Apple responding to what it has seen Microsoft doing. You know, we've also seen major investments in data centers from folks like Meta and Google. There was a major announcement of Meta building a $10 billion data center in Louisiana that came out just at the late last year. So there's an arms race going on here, and I think it's great for the economy, but it also shows that this is happening here here in the United States, versus we look at places like the European Union, where you're not seeing this type of major investment in the AI space, despite a lot of talk from European Union officials. So it really paints a picture of where the more favorable regulatory and investment environment is right now in this space.
So that's a really interesting point because we saw the European Union move quite quickly to be able to put out some of those regulations. Where do you see things going from here? As you said, they seem to be taking a bit of a back seat.
Yeah, there seems to be somewhat recognition in Europe that rushing to regulate has not produced the kind of revolutionary and large scale companies capable of making these kind of investments. If you think about the largest companies by market cap in the world, most of them are American technology companies, and they all have some sort of competitive counterpart that's in the Chinese economy, but you don't see competitive counterparts to the Apples, the Googles, the Metas, and the Microsofts of the world in the European Union's economy. And so there's been a lot of talk about trying to create government controlled investment, but there's a failure to recognize in the European Union that on a frontier technology like AI, having government strings attached to any kind of investment is going to slow that progress. And with AI, progress is being measured in minutes, essentially. There are new announcements coming out practically every day about a newer model, a more powerful model, whether that's from US innovators or even Chinese innovators.
The AI arms race is ongoing. We do know that, but we have heard from President Trump that he really wants the United States to take the lead in this. What do you think the Trump administration might have in terms of a broader policy when it comes to artificial intelligence?
Yeah, already we've seen that the Trump administration has pulled back on some of the Biden administration's AI policies and AI executive orders, and right now has a request for information out from the White House on. And they're taking industry feedback in terms of what more they can do to facilitate AI investment and development here in the United States. So the first thing that they're doing that is really helpful is listening. And that is something that we didn't really see with the Biden administration. The Biden administration was far more interested in telling AI companies what to do versus listening to what they needed to further invest here in the United States. But I think continuing to open up federal lands for greater energy exploration and as well as construction of energy infrastructure and AI infrastructure is going to go a long way. Ultimately, AI is powered by data and power itself. So we're going to need a lot of electricity, and the Trump administration is better positioned to provide those needs.
Yes, we've heard a lot about the data centers and, of course, the electricity. And finally, what challenges might Apple face in executing such a large-scale investment, and how could it impact the broader tech industry?
Something we're really concerned about in the AI space is a rush at the state level to implement AI regulations. And we now are tracking something on the order of 700 different AI related pieces of legislation at the state level in the United States. Creating a patchwork for what is fundamentally an interstate service is not going to facilitate the kind of development that is going to continue to produce these major investments. So as long as we can see some sort of regulatory humility at the state level and a recognition and adherence to what the White House is trying to do and pushing a national AI strategy, we'll be in good shape. But if we have a patchwork of regulations across the 50 states, that's really going to harm investment.
Obviously, this is a phased announcement. And of course, when people hear it, they are excited and they want to be able to see a lot of movement. Do we know yet for a timeline for some of this to roll out?
I would expect Apple to be moving very quickly here because, again, the AI space is moving at such a rapid clip that we can't afford these kind of delays. I mean, I think the DeepSeek announcement out of China really caught a lot of folks off guard and showed that while the United States remains in the lead on AI research and development and investment, the Chinese are catching up very quickly. It was a bit of a Sputnik moment. And so there's really not a whole extra time here for companies to so companies need to be moving quickly if they hope not to be caught by that kind of announcement. You saw after the DeepSeek announcement what it did to NVIDIA's stock value. So there's a huge rush to make sure that we're getting out ahead of any potential new innovations that may surprise the markets.
Patrick Hedger from Nut Choice, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
This is Ticker. We'll be right back.